Hello, I'm Nate George, the creator and your mentor for this live project for decoding data science job postings to improve your resume. Currently in the project, we have an issue in the first chapter where section 1.2 is supposed to be an entire chapter from this quick Python book, but they only put in one section. So I'm going over this video to show you how to get started with Jupyter Notebooks, pandas, and plotting. So the first thing you're going to want to do is download and install Anaconda if you don't already have Python installed. So you can search for Anaconda Python or go to anaconda.org and then go to their download page. And once you get there, looks like they've actually kind of changed this landing page a little bit. But go ahead and click the download button and download the version for your operating system. I believe if you look for Anaconda Python download, it also will take you to, maybe they changed things a little bit since then. This is a pretty recent change. It used to auto-detect your operating system. So anyway, you have to choose your operating system, install it, go with Python 3.7. Once that's installed, within the live project, you'll see there's a link to the GitHub page. So if you click on that, it'll take you to the GitHub repository, which has some materials for this project. And so you're going to want to download this or clone this GitHub repository. And then we're going to create this environment from the environment.yaml file. So that's just using this command right here, conda env create -f environment.yaml. So if you're in Windows, you could run that from an Anaconda prompt. If you're in Linux or Mac, then run that from a terminal. So I think I already have this environment created, so I'm not going to reinstall it. Once you have it installed, you can activate the environment with the, I guess I don't have it installed anymore. Let me try again. So, oops. So we'll let that install. This will take a second. Once that's installed, we're going to activate the environment and then should be able to run Jupyter Notebook. Sometimes it can take a minute to do this environment solving thing. But now we've got it installing our packages. It's almost done. Just doing a few last things with Jupyter Notebook extensions here. Okay, so now it's ready to go, and let me just go into a test directory here. So once you have that set up, you can open up a terminal or an Anaconda prompt in Windows and type Jupyter Notebook. And from that, it'll take you to this Jupyter Notebook page. You can also use Jupyter Hub. That's another option. I guess we would need to, let's see. Let's see if we can find, so Jupyter Hub is another way to run Jupyter Notebooks. It has a few extra features, so it would just be installed with Anaconda like that. So just conda install -c conda forge Jupyter Hub. I will install this in this environment, but I also already have it installed in my base environment, I believe. No, maybe not. Let's let it install here. Okay. Oh, I thought that was how you... I might be doing this wrong. I might be thinking of a different... Oh, yeah, it's not Jupyter Hub. It's Jupyter... I thought it was... Yeah, that's my mistake. It's not Jupyter Hub, it's Jupyter Lab. So, okay. So just searching for this in Anaconda so we can install it. All right, so it looks pretty similar. We want to do conda install C conda forge, the conda forge channel, Jupyter Lab. We'll just tell it yes to go ahead and install it without asking us to confirm. Then we do Jupyter Lab, so you can see what this looks like. So it has a few more things. You can create a terminal window. You can also create a Jupyter Notebook or some other things. And you have a file browser on the left side, as well as some other tools here. So Jupyter Lab just has a few extra things. Okay, kind of a long sidetrack there. So now that we have our Jupyter Notebook open, remember I just typed Jupyter Notebook from the command line. And you're probably going to want to create a folder to keep your project organized. You might even create a GitHub repository. And once we have this interface open, we go over here on the right side, click New, and then Python 3. And now we've got our Jupyter Notebook. So, close one of these. So we've got our Jupyter Notebook running, and we can do things like print out things. It'll save the output. If we upload it to GitHub, you'll be able to view the output, things like that. So let's look at the pandas package now. I'm also going to import this Seaborn plotting package, which I need to install. Can't remember the name of the environment. Just going to list the name of the environments here. Job posting NLP. So I'm just going to install that Seaborn package real quick. So pandas works with data frames, which we normally abbreviate with DF. And I'm just going to load this iris data set from Seaborn which is a classic data set that gets used as a demo in data science all the time. So that just loads the data into a pandas data frame, which we can see from here. And if we want to look at some of the data, we can look at the top few rows, we can look at the bottom few rows. There's a couple other commands that are super useful, like info. Tells us how many entries in there are non-null, so it tells us how many entries we have that are not missing. It tells us the data types for each row or column, tells us how many data points, tells us the memory usage. If you want to get the full memory usage, I believe it's not the right. Quick trick is a question mark in front of a command in Jupyter Notebook. Will bring up the documentation. So memory usage is what I was looking for. So memory usage, I think, no, there was another. Oh, right. So memory usage equals deep. That's what I was looking for. So if we use memory usage equals deep, it shows us the true full memory usage of the data frame. For a large data frame, this can be useful, but can also take a while to run. Okay, df.describe. This shows us some summary statistics for each of the columns, at least the numeric columns. Some other things that are useful. Value counts can show us, for example, a column with some unique values there. We can see the counts of the different unique values. We can also just get the unique values like that. So those are some basic commands there. There's another very nice package for pandas called pandas profiling. Pandas profiling gives you just a bunch of EDA and data on a pandas data frame with basically one short command. So that's pandas data frames in a nutshell. It's very much like an Excel spreadsheet. We can do a lot of things like that. It just has the advantage of being able to store more data, and we can use it directly in Python. We can also access these columns like dot notation rather than this notation. A couple other things about data frames, and I'll go over this in the other presentation too, but we can also so you can use tab completion. If you start typing the name of a column and press the tab button, then you can bring up choices for auto-completing and choose one of them. Let's say we only want to look at where the sepal length is greater than 5. We can use some filtering like that. And there's also a handy command called drop duplicates. The dot shape command is going to show us how many rows there are. For some reason, it looks like there's one duplicate row, which is kind of strange. I didn't know that was the case in this data set. So that's kind of a quick overview of pandas data frames. There's also a nice course on pandas over at Kaggle. There's a bunch of courses here. I'm going through them to check them all out. yeah, so there's a pandas course, and there's a bunch of other courses here for free on Kaggle.com. Okay, now plotting is just kind of built into pandas. One thing is we might want to import matplotlib for plotting. And then another thing, with Jupyter Notebooks, we run this magic command, matplotlib. It's magic because it has this %sign in front of it, so that's just the terminology. It's called magic commands. And matplotlib inline just makes plots show up automatically. So if we did, for example, the sepal length and wanted to do a whoops, we should do like a histogram or something instead. So maybe say look at the distribution of sepal lengths. We could do a histogram. There's lots of ways to customize it. And there's a few other, I think you can also do something like that, I thought. Maybe not anymore. There might be some other syntaxes for being able to plot things, but anyway, this works pretty easily. And you can hide this little bit of output just by sending the output to an underscore, which is just sending it to sending it nowhere. So that's plotting with pandas data frames. And of course we can also plot with matplotlib by doing something like plot.plot. We'll just do a scatter plot. So we could say plot the sepal length versus the sepal width. And sorry, plot is a line plot. Plot.scatter is a scatter plot. And there's a bunch of other plots obviously available in matplotlib. And of course that Seaborn library that we imported here at the top, that one is also a plotting library actually, so that has a bunch of pre-made plots. Another one would be the Cufflinks is another library that you can use to get interactive plots with pandas data frames. All right. I think there's maybe one more thing to cover. No, I think that was it. Jupyter Notebooks, pandas, and plotting. So that's just a quick overview, kind of making up for the lack of that chapter in the live project. So I hope that helps if you're not familiar with these things. And of course, feel free to reach out to me with questions. All right, we'll see you in the course. Thanks. Bye.